Hello. We are back to study more Torah portions, and today the Torah portion is Noah. It begins in Genesis 6, verse 9. And we, of course, the chapter, the Parsha is called Noah because it introduces us for the first time to Noah. And indeed, the entire chapter is dedicated to Noah. So I'd like to figure out who this guy Noah really was. Let's delve into that a bit today. So the scripture begins as follows. These are the progeny of Noah. Noah was a righteous man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. From that first verse, great way to open a Torah portion. You get in one scripture, in one sentence, you get that there's this guy Noah, and he's a great guy. What could be bad about him? You see absolutely no criticism about this man. He is seen as being righteous, perfect. Tamim is the word in Hebrew. I'm not sure if it's necessarily perfect. It can be just also translated as innocent or as pure. And he walks with God. Sounds great. Then we get to Rashi, which I have mentioned is one of the most well-known, really a basic classic commentator from the Middle Ages, lived in the 11th century. Now, what Rashi typically does is he will base his commentary on a more ancient source. And in this case, he refers to a debate that is raging among our sages going back centuries, even before Rashi. And the debate is as follows. When the scripture says that Noah is a righteous man, does it mean really righteous or righteous only in relationship to his generation? And basically, it goes as follows. This is how Rashi basically sets it out. It says some of the rabbis consider this statement that Noah was righteous or was pure in his generation. Some people say that was to his credit. He was righteous despite living among the most evil people in the world. And the argument then goes, if he is able to withstand all those negative influences that surrounded him, and we know this is a very evil generation because, you know, 2 verses later, God says, I've had it with this generation, and I'm bringing a flood, and I'm destroying everybody except Noah and his family. So you know this is a really bad group of people. So the argument goes, if Noah manages to withstand all those evil influences around him and still remain righteous, imagine how righteous he would be if he were living in the generation of Abraham. Abraham had Abraham, he had other people, so that Noah then, of course, would surely have been influenced by all these even more righteous people around him, and he would have been an even greater man. So that is, states this to his credit. Then Rashi continues, however, there are some rabbis who explain these words to his discredit. If we compare Noah to his generation, of course he was righteous. His generation was the worst people in the world. You didn't have to be so good to be considered righteous at that time. However, if he lived in the generation of Abraham, he wouldn't be such an unusual guy. He'd just be an ordinary Joe, and nobody would be writing any stories or scriptures about him. Okay. The same situation, the same Noah and his generation, and Abraham and his generation. Very interesting that in this case, Rashi, and he gets it, as I said, from the Midrash, feels it necessary to compare Noah to Abraham.
To watch this program in its entirety, go to www.glc.us.com or simply click the link below.